Arrived at the Texas to Tennessee podcast, your home for your favorite independent artists and a couple of guys you've never heard of.
Who?
It was Texas, it was Tennessee. It was what I had coming to me. You were unlike anything.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Texas to Tennessee podcast. Tonight we are Steveless, so it's just I have the Soul Gravy here, and then we have a special guest co-host. This is second time. This is second time co-hosting.
Yeah, number two.
Yeah, been on a couple times.
Screw it
as
up
a
better
guest
the first time.
with Bill Corbin. Thanks for taking the time to do this again, Mr. William. I see it on the screen.
No, thanks for having me.
No problem. And tonight our guest is Carley with Hotel Turkey.
Hi.
Thanks for we've had a couple different venue folks on, and we really like that, hearing the stories and everything from that side of the coin, supporting the places that support independent music, support live music. It's without you guys, folks like Bill don't have anywhere places to play, so it just makes complete sense to let people hear that side of the story. So thanks for taking the time.
No, super excited. Yeah, we are big fans of the network that music creates, and so I know I'm not going to pull it. Thankfully for you guys, I'm not going to pull out a guitar at any point during the podcast, but I appreciate the opportunity to talk about what music means to us.
Good deal. But just take a minute and give me a little rundown on who you are, and maybe just a little brief part of a Hotel Turkey, and then we can dive deeper into that.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Carley. I'm one of the partners at the Hotel Turkey here in Turkey, Texas. My friends Pat and Tina Carson bought the hotel 10 years ago. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary here in Turkey, Texas. We are a tiny little town of 300 people that is absolutely on the way to nowhere. You definitely have to be coming to Turkey to find your way to Turkey. But somehow through all of that, just because of some really neat people and a really cool environment, we get to do some really neat things out here. We kind of get to make up what we want our adventure to be, and that's a big part of that is live music. We are a hotel, a restaurant, a live music venue, a bar. We are also here in Turkey, Texas. We are the home of Bob Wills, the most famous Western swing person in the entire world, the king of Western swing. So music is really important to us and really important to the town. And when Pat and Tina bought the hotel, actually the very first thing that they did, this is before I knew them. This is before I had ever been to Turkey. Well, I've been to Turkey once before, but I didn't know anything about Turkey, Texas, or Pat and Tina Carson. The very first thing that they did here at the hotel was have Jason Roberts come and perform. And Jason Roberts is George Strait's fiddle player, who was with Asleep at the Wheel. So they set the musical bar pretty high, just right from the get-go. But my story and like how I got here, so they had the hotel, big live music fans themselves. They were booking music, local kind of, regional music. And I came as I came with who ended up being my ex-husband to play music at the hotel, like very, very, very early on. It was in the first couple of months that they were open. And it worked out great. I fell in love with the town. Moved. The joke is that I, gained a hotel in a town and lost a husband. It was great. It was, that's. But it's just, it's. I know it's funny. But it's part of the story. That's how we got here. Is because he played music and then I was here with him singing. But I don't really perform anymore. But I fell in love with the town and the people, and it was one of those things where you just couldn't not come back. And the atmosphere that Pat and Tina had already created was incredible. And so I kind of just moved to Turkey. Didn't really have a plan. Was going to do some remote work, and then ended up helping Pat and Tina. And then we just started working on projects together, and then all of a sudden we were doing so much together that all we do now is hotel stuff. And so that was 8 years ago. And so I've been in Turkey for 8 years, been a part of the hotel for 8 years. We've been building what we think is something pretty special out here, kind of not just a place for musicians to play music, but a place for them to recharge their battery a little bit. I think that'd be a pretty fair assessment. And we've also started collecting, it's a really funny word for it, really cool musicians to live in, artists to live in Turkey, and have Turkey be a part-time home for them. And so, yeah, Hotel Turkey is the longest continually operating hotel in the state of Texas. And we've had music at the hotel since day one of Pat and Tina buying the hotel. And I just genuinely don't think we would be what we are without our friends in the live music scene. So it's pretty fun. We have a pretty okay time out here, don't we, Bill?
Oh, God, it's the best. I literally love that place.
Well, I think one thing about that, talking about I mean, you can bring live music to, anywhere, right? But to have, when the connection and something, for lack of better words, magical starts happening at a place, at a few festivals that I know of, and a few venues that I've been to, and things, it's just different. There's a connection with the people that go to the venue, no matter who's playing. And then you add in certain artists along the way that just make it even, makes it even better. And you can also tell, as a fan, a lot of times, if you pay attention, what the artists feel about the venue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's strictly a job or they really enjoy being around. And hanging out. So it's nice to hear those stories, that is not just a venue.
Well, and one of my favorite stories is, and it's kind of my story too, right? Like I found the place, I fell in love, I kept coming back, and then I found a way to move here. But one of my favorite versions of that story is Ryan Colwell, and Ryan is an absolute monster of a songwriter and performer, and he and I are from the same part of Texas, but we didn't know each other. And he messaged me on Twitter. This would have been like very early post-pandemic. He messaged me and he was like, "Hey, do you know how you get a gig at Hotel Turkey?" And I was like, I know a girl. we can make this happen. So, but been a big fan of Ryan's for a long time, since he put out Flatlands. The Last American is again just a monster of a record. Has one of my favorite songs on it. And so he came and he played here, and it was really funny. Again, it was post-pandemic, so we were all kind of getting our feet back under us, and it took a couple songs in, but then it was like, it's like you saw his entire body shift, and it was like, oh wow, this is a good place to be. And the show was just incredible. And then fast forward to, he was still living in Tennessee. So he lived in Tennessee for 10-ish years with his family from Texas, moved to Tennessee, wrote, recorded, performed all over the place. But he would call me and he'd be like, "Hey, I'm in the neighborhood doing some shows. Can I come by and stay in Turkey for a couple days?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, man. Come on, come see us." And he'd come hang out. And then we come to find out the neighborhood was Houston. He'd had a show in Houston the night before, which is not exactly what I would consider the neighborhood, but Turkey is where he wanted to be. So we did that for a little while. And then he brought his family. They kind of moved back to Texas for a minute, and he started bringing his family. His wife, Cassie, is an incredible human being, and they're raising 4 beautiful girls. And then it was like, okay, the house hunt is on. That's always the thing in Turkey. Like, can you find a house? And so the house, he found a house. He lives here now. He's 5 blocks away from me, and he's one of the best songwriters I've ever met in my entire life. And then also my friend Tyler Halverson, he is in Tennessee right now, but he says he's working. We need this record to do really, really well so that he can buy some property in Texas and become a turkey land baron. That's what we laugh about.
Land baron, okay.
But he moved out here for about 6 months, 3-ish years ago. He was here for about 6 months, and I really think that was a pretty pivotal moment in his life, kind of figuring out, I want to do music, and I want to give it all I've got, but I also need places in my life that recharge my battery. And actually the cover art for his new album that just came out, we shot that. I took that photo, and we shot that photo in the Bob Wills Center here in Turkey, in the same room where I took his first pictures like 5 years ago. So it was a really cool full circle moment. But yeah, I truly believe very few artists that come and play at the hotel are just here to play. They're here to soak up some of the magic. They're here to be close to the people that really appreciate music, and hopefully take a little bit of the creativity back. And that doesn't even count me talking about Charlie Stout. Charlie Stout is again, monster songwriter, incredible photographer, wonderful performer. He wrote the Panhandlers' "West Texas in My Eye."
Love that song.
Isn't it a great song?
It sure is.
And if we want to talk about his great music, let's talk about the music he hasn't recorded. And if you see this, Charlie, you need to record some new music, because we need some new music to brag on you about. He's got a space trilogy about a space cowboy. It's pretty cool. He should record that. But he kind of did the same thing. Would come out here early on, and we would. And he stayed for a while during the pandemic. Bill, do you remember when he was doing midnight? He had this thing. He would go on Instagram Live at midnight during the pandemic and have guests on.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what he called that. But anyway, then he went and lived in Tucson for a while, came back, and now he produces our boot shop sessions that the hotel puts on, which I think are pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. I was watching the Shelby Stone one earlier today. Yeah,
is it that song's not? I mean,
very well done.
Thank you. We are very proud of them, and Charlie does an exceptional job. And again, when you talk about, and we're the hotel is something incredibly special, and the people at the hotel are something incredibly special. And I think all small towns are kind of like this. Like, you drive through them and you just think, what are people do? I mean, what do they do here? What are they doing? But in our little town, at least, there's some pretty phenomenal things happening, not just on Friday and Saturday night, but every day.
Well, one thing that I should have brought up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, my bad. I was just going to I can't state enough how great Turkey, Texas is, and Hotel Turkey. I'm surprised more artists haven't moved down there already. Because I would love to retire and move down there immediately. And I had the good fortune of kind of falling in love with it as a fan first. I just took a weekend. I went down there during the pandemic and spent the weekend there, and absolutely fell in love with it. Because this is when, in between bands, I took 4 years off and wasn't playing. And so I went down, and I think Eric Willis was playing one of the nights. Red Shahan was there. But I absolutely fell in love, and have since had the good fortune to come back there with a few artists, and every time I look forward to it. There's nothing makes me happier than seeing Hotel Turkey pop up on Massacre Tour, that I'm going to be there. And I'm always like, I hope we're doing 2 days, or doing a boot shop session the next day, because I never want to go home. It's actually genuinely hard to leave that place when you go. I wouldn't trust anybody who went there and didn't have a good time. That's their fault.
So one.
And I was trying to explain it.
No, I was going to say, what?
Oh, sorry.
Where is as far as for us folks that aren't in Texas, where is Turkey, Texas? Relatively located.
So I should have had a map. But so if this is the Panhandle, right? If this is a Panhandle, and then this would be Fort Worth, we're right here. So if you're going from Fort Worth to Amarillo, you can go Fort Worth to Amarillo or Lubbock. We're kind of right in the middle of nowhere. There's one road in and kind of one road out. We're 45 minutes from, we're probably almost an hour from a Walmart. We are 15 minutes from a grocery store. The closest thing we have to a grocery store is at Allsup's. You know, we have a consolidated school district. I mean, it's just a really small, weird, out of the way place. We are near, I'm going to tell a Bill story real quick, but we're next to Caprock Canyon State Park, which is super cool for us. It's the home of the state bison herd. Very, very neat. But if you're going to go on a bicycle ride, you have to make sure that you take plenty of water. Otherwise, Charlie Stout will be your rescue mission, and that is not a situation anybody wants to find themselves in. So, but I think that was the first time you came here, Bill.
Yeah. I never thought in my life I would say that my life was actually saved by Charlie Stout. Of all the people that I would think would save me in some predicament, I would never have imagined that it was Charlie Stout.
And it was Charlie.
Yeah. I won't make that mistake again. Don't worry. I had to reach out to him on Twitter. I didn't even have his phone number.
At the time,
DM'd him on Twitter. Yeah. I ran out of water and supplies, and nobody tells you it's way hotter in the canyon than it is outside. This was 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
And also, I had stayed up drinking with Charlie Stout till like 4 or 5 in the morning, and was like, I came here to ride my bike. I'm going to ride my bike. So at 7 o'clock, you know, I'm covered in Lycra and riding down the trail, still drunk for sure. And I think I did like 50 miles or something before I like came across a trailhead and was like, I'm going to die. And I got Charlie's number and I called him. I was like, do you know anybody who's got a truck or something that can pick my bike up? And he was like, well, I got like a hatchback. We can probably fit it in there. But I felt so bad about having to come. I was like, man, let me see if I'll make it to the next trailhead. And if I'm still hurting, you know, I'll give you a call back. And I sat there for like 20 minutes and like vultures were flying. I was like, nope, I'm going to die out here. So I called Carley back and I was like, hey man, I'm so sorry, but would you mind picking me up from this trailhead? He was like, brother, I am 2 minutes away. He was like, I heard it in your voice. He was like, I knew you were hurting and you were not going anywhere. So he came, and then, I mean, he was still messed up from the night before. We had to pull over so he could puke on the way back to the hotel. So certainly not my finest moment.
Well, I wasn't going to tell all those details, Bill, but I'm sure glad that you did.
Yeah.
No shame in.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you know, we do have a great time out here, for sure, and we have fun stories like that. But you know, we like that, like you'll just be talking, and all these random people who are some of your favorite musicians that are well known start coming up in conversation, and you all these people that come through. But then we also have, like in your intro, I love the intro, but then we have people out here that, especially like with our boot shop sessions, and I have to give like a quick shout, as long as we're doing the Texas to Tennessee thing, I have to give a shout out to Ross Cooper, to, as far as his part in our origin story of the boot shop sessions, because Ross called me about doing a video that could be kind of like some friends of ours, Comanche Moon, again, we just kind of go through names, that recorded some stuff in the boot shop. And I was like, yeah, sure, I can record a music video. I don't know how to record a music video. I have a one camera. So, but I was like, there's very rarely do I think I can't do something. Ross got here and we were figuring it out. And fortunately, Charlie was there that day and we had the equipment to do it the right way. And so we did like this very test runny kind of thing that just wasn't, I mean, Ross did a great job, but like visually it wasn't great. But then Charlie decided to stay, and it was like, okay, well, maybe this could be a thing. And then the first people we had on it were Jamie Lynn Wilson, Rob Linus, Ryan Colwell, Eric Willis, then we've had The Great Divide and all these people, but Ross then came back and recorded a full live record in the boot shop that we put out as a record under our record label, with this idea that we will not only be a place that inspires music or inspires musicians and captures video, but is a place where music is created too, like where people are writing things and we're putting it out into the world. Because I think one of the things that our guests love about being at Hotel Turkey is the barrier that kind of breaks down between the artist and the listener. And it's not because there's the stories that are told, and that you do end up drinking a beer with them at the bar or at the boot shop, listening to them play a song that isn't recorded yet. And I tell myself that those of us, not that I'm a musician, but those of us that are close enough to the genesis of music, we get to see this really cool thing that is the song before it's recorded. And because when it goes through the production process, there's some magic that gets put on it for sure that is amazing. And Bill's been a part of some songs that are just like incredible, that live on, and it's probably partly because it was the production, all that sort of stuff. But those moments of what it sounded like when you first decided what those notes were going to be, or how that melody was going to go, or how the phrasing was going to be, we get to experience a lot of that at the hotel. And through the boot shop sessions or the recording those live records, we might be able to help listeners experience those moments too. And that's a privilege, to get to experience those moments, because they are so precious to the artist. And so we have artists like Ben McKenzie's one from Oklahoma that Ben has this one song called Carousel that I think is one of the best songs ever written. And I think everybody in the world should hear it. And I love that I get to tell people that. But not everybody knows who Ben McKenzie is. And we get the opportunity to see our favorite people play music. Like Bill was there with Mickey and the Motorcars. We had Mickey and the Motorcars at Hotel Turkey. How does that happen? We get some of our heroes out here. I had Willis Allen Ramsey play music here. Willis Allen Ramsey. I've sang Muskrat Love and more, and probably Spider John is my favorite song. That is the number one, as one of my top songs. But I had Willis Allen Ramsey play music in Turkey, Texas. So it's pretty cool. We have a good time.
Well, I have to say that it shows that that you love music too. And if you didn't, even despite a cool venue, the some of that respect from the artist probably wouldn't be the same, if that makes sense. Because like you can, I feel like there's like this a language, what I mean, with musicians, and like a respect sort of thing, and knowing how difficult it is being out there, and all of the things that go into being an independent musician. And if somebody kind of doesn't really understand them or whatever, it's to me anyway, I'm an outsider just talking about it, but it seems like it would be a lot easier to have a mutual respect, you know what I mean, especially with a venue that can actually get you, and is not completely worried. You have to make money, but you're not completely worried about the bottom dollar. There's more to the equation, so which is really cool. But I want to ask Bill, she said earlier about going there to recharge batteries, and then you mentioned you're always looking for that, on the schedule when you're excited when it pops up. Why, as a musician going to Hotel Turkey, why are you excited about when that name pops up on the schedule?
It's genuinely the full and the experience that you'll have there. Like only Carley could have built it. Now she's had a ton of help. Pat and Tina are amazing and everything like that, but Carley's an artist. Anybody that's seen her photography work gets it. She has an artist soul, and she understands it, and she does a wonderful job of like making everybody feel at home. Like, yes, it's a business, like we understand, but like it's never treated like a job or a chore for her. You can't curate a lineup like that if those musicians don't respect the absolute shit out of her, and it's because she respects them, and she just makes you feel at home, and the whole staff does as well. It's just one of those things where you kind of can't describe it, because the town itself is like, they have an Allsups. There used to be a food truck next to the Allsups, but I didn't see it this time. Like there's just not, like at first glance, like I'm trying to, it's like, well, it's this hotel and they have a stage and a bar and a restaurant, and but it's literally, there's just something about it that's just relaxing and charming and calming. But to see that everybody's there genuinely loves good music, but also good art. Nobody's there because for the wrong reasons. Like, it's not they're coming because it's some viral TikTok band. You know what I mean? That's like flavor of the day. It is people who genuinely want to listen, who are respectful of the artists, and that's why there's never seems to be an issue with, like, there is no barrier between the crowd and the stage. I mean, I think every time I've been there, we've just all been hanging out on the patio till we got pretty, until it got pretty late. And it's just great. You feel at home, and it is inspiring. But again, to have that, you have to have somebody that's an artist like Carley curating all that and cultivating that sort of vibe and community. It's super impressive. Like, she's done a wonderful job, and Pat and Tina are amazing. But yeah, I think that it only works when somebody is artistic is Carley is involved.
I understand completely. Well, you're going to be on that list a whole lot more now, Bill. Good job.
I know.
But
Bill and I know
I
each other.
shamelessly, I just want to come hang out there. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I come on my free time to go there.
Steve wasn't even busy tonight. Bill just kicked him off.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
He messaged me like 2 days after I got back from Hotel Turkey. I was just like, yes. Because literally, I'm always trying to find like a 3-day weekend where I can just go out there for the whole thing,
Well, and I think that I think it's Bill's so right. It's such a mutual respect thing. We know, like I said, because Pat, Tina, and myself, we are all such music lovers or appreciators or a part of that world, that we know that when someone performs, it's, even if you are there to just collect a paycheck and you can tell, you are still giving a little bit of yourself every single time that you get on stage. And we never want to take that for granted. And I think that our guests are always, even if they're not there, I've watched people become live music fans as guests of ours, where they're like, oh, okay, music. And then all of a sudden, people are having conversations on the back patio about investing in people's records. That's happened more than once at the hotel, where somebody fell in love with an artist and said, well, how can I help you make your next record? And that there's also, it coming back from the artist, such a respect for the audience and saying thank you for being here so that we can do what we want to, and a graciousness that's involved. It's the coolest thing in the world to see. And our staff, the girl, whether it's the kitchen staff or the front of house staff, they are the biggest music fans that you can possibly imagine. If you bring good merch to Hotel Turkey, Mandy is going to buy a t-shirt. And then the girls are going to be so cognizant of who's playing that they're going to wear the t-shirt that they bought at the last show to your next show. And it's so cool to see that community all built around music, and all kinds of music. Like, you can definitely say that we are country, Americana, honky tonk, Western swing, that kind of thing. But we have jazz. We have, every now and then, we have had some rock music every now and then. And we also believe that that there's a place for cover bands too. Sometimes you just need to have a party. And we do that. And there's a fine art to being a cover band. But when you get down to it, we're all about the singer-songwriter and the original music and everything. But there's just such a place for everybody in the music scene. And we try and create an atmosphere where any of that can happen.
Speaking of that, I do have a Vince Gill tribute band with Eric Willis that I think should make a trip to Hotel Turkey.
Minced dill. Yes, I agree. I concur.
Yeah, I think that would go really well on steak night on Saturdays. I think that'd be the move.
I'm here for it. You've got my number.
So steak night reminds me that I mean, has Silverado played there?
So we've talked about it. We've tried a couple times to
They're a
make
little
that
busy.
happen.
Yeah.
Well, they are busy, but they're friends too. I did the art for their live at Devil's Backbone. Not the cover art, but I did the photography for that album. And Adam Oder, who's produced most of their work, is a dear friend of ours and masters our boot shop sessions. And so every now and then when I'm doing a social media post for the hotel, the steak night at the Prairie Rose, and it's gonna happen someday. Steak night at the Hotel Turkey. And I'm gonna hear Mike sing those words, and it'll be fantastic.
So kind of reading between the lines with both of you talking, it sounds like there's absolutely nothing to do in Turkey, Texas besides the venue, right? And that's why they like it.
You can ride your bike. You can ride your bike.
Well, what I'm meaning is when you say when you say recharge, right? I'm trying to kind of picture what you're meaning, and what I feel like you're meaning is there's nothing.
There's no distractions, so you can actually be very present, which is nice. Like you feel a little bit removed, but you're surrounded by good people, and you can just be present and enjoy the interaction as both a crowd member and as a musician on stage. I've enjoyed both. Like the last time I was there for brunch on a Sunday, and Jason Scott was doing was singing during brunch, like it, and there's just something magical and peaceful about it that I feel like Hotel Turkey is something that years from now people will talk about, the current era, and just be like, man, that was a time. You know what I mean? Like just something special that is really rare.
Well, and we, as far as like Hotel Turkey and Turkey go, I think we have the perfect mix of nothing to do but something to do. Like one of my favorite things is somebody won't tell me they're in town, and we have a little winery, the Turkey Creek Winery here in town, and that's the only other place you can get a beer. And I'll walk in there and I'll be like, "What the heck are you doing? You didn't tell me you were coming to town," and they'll be like, "Yeah, I just thought I didn't want to bother you, but I needed to get away for a little bit." And I'm like, "That's great, man. I love it. I'm so glad to see you." And you can be whoever you are, and just exist here and be as engaged or as a fly on the wall as you want to be. And you don't have to be anybody. I mean, I think that whether you're some of our more well-known artists that come, or some of our more under the radar artists, you don't have to be anything. We aren't expecting anything of you other than who you are. We just want the very authentic person to show up. And I think that's a pretty fair assessment, don't you think, Bill? Like you don't have to put on the stage mask of I gotta go do it.
No, in fact, I mean, I think the people that come to Hotel Turkey very much want genuine and real. They don't want, you just faking it, and it's the authenticity that is just what they want there, and what you immediately feel that you get to just be yourself. And what I mean by when I was saying that there's like nothing really in the town as far as like stuff to do, like there is stuff to do. Like we went to the natural spring.
Oh yeah,
like down the road. The one, you guys took me there. There's the national parks, but the nearest thing I can equate it to is like I love Broncos. It's always been one of my favorite music festivals, even before I was playing with the motor cars. When American Aquarium first played that, I kind of fell in love with it. And one of the things I kind of realized why was like if you play a big festival and like where there's a ton of different stages and venues, it can be kind of overwhelming, right? Well, at Brown Brothers, there's one main stage. The band's going one after the other. They put bleachers on the side of the stage, so the catering is right behind the stage. So it just kind of, you get this community thing going. And it's not that there's nothing going on. There's very much something going on, but it's focused and pure And I kind of like that about Hotel Turkey, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't been out there, of course, but there's a festival that I talk about, quite a bit on the pod is North Springs Music Festival, and it's the same as far as like what you're saying. It's one stage. There's not a lot of chaos, not a lot of crowdedness, not a lot of whatever in the artist and there's not that much of a barrier. They have a place to go and get away if they need to or whatever, but for the most part, it is all just you're just there in a holler in East Tennessee with no cell service, stuck between two beautiful mountains with music for a few days, and but the camaraderie between the artist, the crowd, the promoter that puts it on, Dustin, like it's just like you said, it's all authentic. So it makes complete sense, and the artist can tell that he likes that he's a supporter of the music as well. Same thing as what you're talking about with Carly. But I wanted to ask, what's the capacity of Hotel Turkey?
I don't know.
Don't know.
How big?
You'd
How
like
big
to
do
find
we
out?
need? How big do we need to be? No. So we have the real advantage of being able to shrink and grow to
Okay.
what the performance needs. Like I
Mhm.
would say a typical Saturday night at the hotel is 300 people, right? Like on a solo acoustic show is in our busy months, like kind of March through October, probably 250 to 300 people. Which again, we have a hotel, but we only have 19 rooms. People do bring in their RVs, so we get a lot of people that drive in and drive back home, and so it's a pretty good crowd. And I don't know how to turn. I got a new computer, and I don't know how to turn off the sound on my messages. So hopefully nobody else will
okay.
text. I'm sorry. But it's super cool. Red Shahan just texted me because we're having a crawfish boil with him this weekend. So I'll tell if it's cool people texting me, I'll let y'all know. But we can also shrink down to like when we did Ross's live record, we had 50 people in the boot shop just locked in. And then we have a big stage that's what Bill played on with Mickey and the Motor Cars, where the largest show I think that we've had was Josh Weathers, and I think we had 600 people here that day. And then we've I say that I don't know my capacity. We can probably take care of 700 people the way we want to take care of them, because we also do we cut off sales for that Josh Weathers show, because we think that, again, while we want to make sure that everything works for everybody, we want to have the Hotel Turkey experience, whether 5 people are there or 500 people are there. So we're not just going to cram people in to shove overcooked chicken tenders in their face. If we're going to do a big stage show, we're going to have steaks, and so there's a little bit of an art there to scaling and still delivering the experience that the guests are expecting and the artists are expecting, and making sure it monetarily works for everybody. But fortunately, we're able to navigate that pretty well. We've laughed because we had the Red Clay Strays out a couple years ago, and then I was talking to the guys, and I was like, well, if we could do it again, we couldn't. I mean, I'd have to do like a secret show or something where I didn't tell, and you just showed up, and there's the Red Clay Strays again, yeah, that kind of thing, because I could physically fit 1,500 people in my space, but it wouldn't be my venue. It wouldn't be our venue's experience. And we're pretty protective of that. And because once you lose that, you can't ever get it back.
So I was going to say that's I'm sure partly why it's turning into what it's turning into, because of that overall experience, and why people would come back. Why why people would drive. I don't know how far, but that is, but from Lubbock, from Fort Worth, from wherever, to come to shows like that. It's because of the whole experience, I'm sure.
Yeah, and And
Go
we've
ahead.
also since I brought up the red clay shades, I'm pretty proud of some of our track record of some of the people that we've had, I think we have a pretty good pulse on the people you need to know. So I love it when people say that they found new music because of the hotel. And then, I'm real proud of the Red Clay Strays for doing what they're doing, because now I don't sound like a crazy person when I first found them and I told everybody this is going to be the biggest band ever. And then they were, people will now listen to me when I'm like, listen to Taylor Honeycutt. She's going to be, they're like, yes, Carly might be right. Because
Like
Taylor,
we were
well,
just
first of
talking
all,
about Water Blue, right?
yeah,
Same, the same
exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get the Red Clay Strays before or after that last show they did at Magnolia Motor Lounge? Because I remember I ran into you there.
I think it was
And
before.
we were both like, oh, they're never. Oh, okay. Because it was like we were at the show, and it was one of those magical shows where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
they're never playing a room this size ever again.
Ever again.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No.
It was so good.
Yeah, we had one of those moments with Shane Smith and the Saints here in town. Like Shane, they'd been to town and to Memphis several times over the years or whatever, but they were playing. I want to say the week or the week before or something when they were going to be on Yellowstone, right?
Mm.
And you could I mean, like I took my daughter. She was like 15 or so at the time. Big fan of theirs, but you could just look. I was looking around the room and going, yeah. This is going to be the last time that because Bill, I don't know if you remember Growlers here in town or the original high tone. It's like a
Oh yeah, absolutely.
400, maybe whatever, 500 cap room, maybe not that. I don't remember.
Yep. Yeah, we used to play there a bunch. Yeah,
I thought so. So they were playing there, and I'm like, yeah, this is the last time this is going to happen. But something else you mentioned earlier, something Jason Eady has a festival in Clarksdale, right? And something that he prides himself on with his festival, one is not being overcrowded, priced accordingly so that that everyone can enjoy their experience, the artists can enjoy their time there. Also, he likes bringing in people to introduce this guy to his people,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what at first it was like, this sounds really in the same story, or it has a lot of similarities, and then you mentioned that too, and that's a whole nother different thing that I'm sure that's like for you, Jason, anybody that has the chance to go, hey man, I'm a big fan of this person, y'all need to check him out. I'm sure that's a whole nother different pride, level of pride to have a way to do that.
It's incredible, and to have, and again, for us to not be pigeonholed into, okay, we do this one thing and you can always expect this one thing from us. The last time that Steve was out here at the hotel was for the Caprock Cowboy Fandango, and that's quickly becoming one of our marquee events. We only did our second year of it in February, and it has given us the real opportunity to highlight a real cool subsect of musicians that are working cowboys. They don't just play cowboy music. They literally just got off a horse and came and sang you this song about riding a horse. And so that, when you talk about that authenticity, and then Pat created this really, really cool space next to the hotel. We had this abandoned building that he got cleaned out, and Ross Cooper wants to name it the Presidio, and I don't know if we're going to stick with that, but maybe it might. But anyway, it was this space where afterwards we had Jared Morris singing songs, we had Zach McGinn singing songs, but then we had this girl Ada Boyd from Denver, from Colorado, and Kylie Fry, and it was just the coolest moment, we're all, and then you have these working cowboys that they go brand with Zach Aaron, and anyway, it's that's really cool to be able to say, here is something that we think is cool. Thank you for trusting us and showing up and enjoying what we do. And even if we don't hit the mark for you, because we've had a few that maybe I didn't quite hit the nail on the head with that one. But even then, it's kind of fun because, very, very rarely do we I think Bill said, you know, like if you don't like playing at the hotel, it's usually your fault. And if we don't like the performance, it's usually my fault. But it's just so rare. We really never have situations where it's like, oh dang, let's not do that again, because it's always
I'd like to see the responses with Eric Willis. Honestly, that would be a good one for me. I'm a fan of him since he come on our podcast, and then getting to see him with Bill and the guys and with Mint Still. One
Eric.
So he's one that I would like to see the reaction of the crowd when he's before he starts to when he starts. I'd like to see that.
So Eric is one of our dearest friends, and we just had our 10-year anniversary, and he played whenever we have he's going to be here on Sunday too. I was like, whenever we have something really cool that we want to do, we call Eric, because he's just one of our favorite people. And he did a full band show here for his last record, Day and Night, and had the horns out, and
Okay.
And so that was super cool, because he has only ever done acoustic stuff out here at the hotel. And so we had to tell everybody, okay, this is going to be different, but we promise it's going to be awesome. And people showed up and were like, this is the neatest thing. Can we do this all the time, Eric?
That band was stacked too, like all monster players.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw them here in Fort Worth on their very first night at the Post, and it was fantastic.
But I also know exactly what you mean about, like, when you see a guy or a girl, because I also really pride ourselves on kind of our mix of what our musicians look like, or what their backgrounds are, or where they're coming from. When you see somebody that you can't quite, you make a determination about what kind of music you're going to hear based on what they look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they get on stage, and you're like, oh, that's not what I thought was going to, like, Eric, that's not what I thought was going to come out.
That's what I was thinking about with him.
Yeah.
I don't know him real well. Maybe Bill can speak on this, but he seems really low key. He seems like he's just going to kind of hang out by himself, not stuck up or whatever, but just doesn't have, he's just not that guy to go and,
No, he's not stuck up at all. He's just a laid back, chill. He's just a dude. Like,
and then,
just
and
a
then
total
he gets up there and
easy going. Yeah, and then he opens his mouth, and you know what? Like, I'm gonna brag on him here for a second.
Okay.
What's obnoxious is he is hands down the strongest singer ever.
Mm-hmm.
So we worked out for years. Like, I had known Eric for years, and he was like, "Hey man, I want to work out. I used to power lift in high school. I want to, get back in the gym." I was like, "Well, you're welcome to come over and lift with me and my training partner. But like, we're doing squats today, and we're probably going to work up to like at least 500 pounds." And that son of a bitch hadn't squatted in like years, and came in and squatted 500 pounds. Like, I was like, "God, you have the voice of an angel and strong as hell." I was so mad. I was like, damn it. I want to hate you, but you're so nice.
The only time I've got to hear him sing, kind of listening to, I think it was Soundcheck. You guys that were doing the
Post October.
Yeah. At hang
Linda
on,
Ronstadt.
where's it at?
Linda
Stop.
Ronstadt.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Linda Ronstadt, and then Vince Gill also covered it later. He did that, and then but as Eric is singing that, the guy that was beside me just said he has auto-tune in his voice box. I was like, yeah, kind of pisses you off, doesn't it? So I want to make sure that we get to talk about some of the other events. That event that you mentioned, what is that event exactly? You mentioned with Jared.
Well, so I'll give you all a highlight reel of our events over the year.
Okay.
Like, so the Caprock Cowboy Fandango is kind of it's in February. Yeah. Well, that's a whole story in and of itself, is because there are cowboy gatherings, and like Red Steagall, who obviously Lone Star Beer and Bob Wills Music. I mean, we worship at the altar of Red Steagall. And then there's a cowboy gathering out in Alpine, and one in Oklahoma. And while we kicked around the idea of a cowboy gathering, we really felt like that is covered in other places. But the way that those are covered are kind of with these legacy guys like Red and other people. And we are, like I said, we're good friends with Zach McGinn. Really helped us kick that off. Dolly Shine, Zach McGinn. Zach's solo career is one of the most interesting things I've watched in a long time. The authenticity in his songs and who he is as a human being. Love Dolly Shine, but there is something real special about what Zach is doing, and I can't wait to see how that develops. I mean, seriously, over the next like 10, 15, 20 years, he's going to be one of those people that is just a legend, I think. But anyway, so we were talking to Zach, and I was like, okay, well, we want to do a cowboy gathering, but we want to do it with young working cowboys that also sometimes try and sing songs. And last year it was so cool, and then we did it again this year, and we added and then our friend Scott Slusher, who is one of the most well-known Western photographers in the world, puts on an art show in the boot shop, and we had a tattoo artist, and we had bronze sculptures, and and then we've got these cowboys out, we've got little kids, we got roping out back, and American hat companies, shaping hats. Danny was here doing that. And it's this wonderful mixture of Western culture and the people that live it, and then those of us like me that live near it and get to be adjacent to that world and not feel like an interloper, not feel like I'm cosplaying a cowboy, but really celebrate that kind of Western energy. And so that's super cool. And then these guys are writing and singing, and these girls are writing and singing these songs. We've just had some really cool people do that. And so we have that event. And then we move into March, where we always do like a big show, a big stage kickoff show. And this year it was Mickey and the Motor Cars. And again, that was one of those when I got that email, like that they wanted to come play here. I didn't reach out. They wanted to come play here. And I'm like, and I called Tina, and she was like, no. And I was like, yes. But we kind of kick off.
Some word with Tina now.
Yeah.
Got some word with Tina now.
Oh, she was so excited. Like, I mean, I think that you have to come here every year now, Bill. Like, I mean, I think it's written into your written into your friend contract now.
Put it on the calendar.
Okay. And so, and that show we've done with several different people, but then we move into April, which we still do Bob Wills Day here in Turkey, Texas. This year is the 54th Bob Wills Day, and it is a celebration of all things Western swing. And like Bob Wills Day that the foundation puts on, that I get to help with that too. We do very traditional Western swing with like Jody Nix and Jake Hooker, who plays at the Hotel 2, Jason Roberts and the Texas Playboys. This year we've got Joshua Headley coming, who I think Joshua Headley is one of the most exciting artists right now. When I met him, and I was like, so Bob Wills, and he's like, yeah, I know Bob Wills like the back of my hand, because he has a portrait of Bob Wills tattooed on his hand, and that is commitment if I have ever seen it. So we do Bob Wills, but then we do music at the hotel, and we do there's some great people coming to play music this year for Bob Wills Day at the hotel. Brother and the Hayes, Songbird Jones, and they're doing some great music. And then we do this Crawfish Festival with Red Shayhand every year. We do a couple of big stage shows throughout the year. Our big stage shows this year are The Great Divide, Jake Hooker. I think I've got a couple other. I should be able to rattle all of this off, but we do a songwriter festival in the fall that is very much about the songwriter and the song. This year we've got Max and Heather Stalling are coming, along with several other great artists. Stephen Prigmore helps us put that on, and he does a fantastic job helping us find artists. One of my favorite artists that we've ever had at the hotel came from the Songwriter Festival and from Stephen connecting us with them. Clay Parker and Jody James are just I'm going to make a list of all these people I talked about and then put it in the comments. I'll make a actually Steve will do it, because Steve is amazing, and he sent me a Fandango.
He loves lists. Yeah.
He sent me a Fandango Spotify playlist, and I was like, "You're amazing, Steve. This is fantastic." But I'm going to make a Texas to Tennessee Hotel Turkey, and we do a lot of fun stuff like We are great friends with Lone Star Beer. They are our official artist beverage. And so if you come to the Hotel Turkey as an artist and you want a free beer, you're drinking the national beer of Texas. And it is a fun sight to see all those Lone Star and Lone Star lights roaming around. But Lone Star's been such a good friend to us, and they help us put on our barbecue Sundays, which is super fun, and we have really fun music for that, and then and then every Friday and Saturday we have music.
There's one place here in Memphis that has Lone Star beer, and it happens to be owned by Dale Watson.
So Dale Watson, no, yes, that I want to come see
Hernando's Hideaway. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Dale has played at the hotel a couple of times, and Dale loves the Hotel Turkey, and we love Dale Watson, and so that is a fun show. But yeah, it's just neat. We're real lucky. Like, we start music most of the time we have music every Friday. Well, every Friday and Saturday of the year, regardless, we have live music. And then sometimes Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays too. And then sometimes, like this week, I get a little excited and we have music on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But that's okay. It's fun.
Yeah, I saw friends of the podcast, homies of the pod, Wes Barlow and Ben Garcia are going to be there. I got to meet Wes at that Shane Smith and the Saints. I had a Shane Smith and the Saints show in Nashville not long ago. So just kind of, we were looking like we'd only met through a computer,
Yeah.
So we were kind of looking. It was their after party, and we're kind of looking across the room like we think we know each other, but not real sure, So, and then we figured out we actually do know each other. So,
is that like when you see somebody and you can only remember their Instagram handle instead of their real name? I do that a lot.
Well, definitely,
All the time.
I've done that on especially on TikTok, where there's a username, like you said, or Instagram. When there's but Wes had actually been on the podcast, so we spent an hour looking at each other. So, but that was I'm just glad, as an outsider, I'm glad to look at that, like any of those shows, and see names that I've I've talked to. And Leon mentioned too is another one that we got to talk to in Key West. So
I'm so excited about him. He's a Red connection, and I'm excited about him. And like you mentioned Key West, like that's how we felt the first time we went to Key West. Pat and Tina and I, like we looked at the lineup and we're like,
they played here.
60% of the hotel had played at the show, and it was so much fun because we were like, we get to go listen. I don't have to bust one table while I listen to Adam Hood sing a song, and that is a real cool thing. So yeah.
He was I don't know if I've told the story about Adam on this pod or not, but when we were down there, Adam turns in fairly early, right? So, and we had just gotten through with the amp shows and made it down to the strip, and Adam and them were getting in the Uber ready to go at like 10 o'clock, and we were just now getting out to the strip, and Adam was our first guest the next morning, and he's like, well, I'm gonna go and get some good sleep. You better have some good questions for me tomorrow. And we did. I asked him. I was like, well, how'd we do? He was like, you did okay. I did all right.
I think I took pictures of him in Key West right after he did your podcast, and he said it was great. So.
Unapologetically a huge Adam Hood fan. That's why he's on the intro of the thing, and he was
he's great.
He was, I think, in episode 5 or 6, and so was Bill, and both of them helped tremendously. Just saying yes to coming on this thing. So shout out to them.
I have one fun Adam Hood story, and then we can move on. But Ross does a weekend every here, and it worked out that Adam was going to be here. We could have Adam too, so we had Ross, Adam Hood, and David Bryan, and so we love Ross, and David was fantastic, but Adam got up and sang a gospel song on a Sunday, and Pat and I looked at each other and we were like, I think I'd put my guitar down if I was anybody else on that stage, because it was just like, dang, Adam, he got the spirit called up at then.
Got caught up in it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a perfect segue to the paranormal stories, the ghost stories.
Oh.
You said he caught the spirit. So that's
okay. So
perfect.
if you ask me if the Hotel Turkey is haunted, I will respond like I do every other guest. Do you want it to be haunted? Like that's the answer. Because I
don't want to scare you away, but I would like to attract you if that's what you want.
But I can also make a case because, this is just very true. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. That is not something that is not like, I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe, I'm not sure, that's just not my thing. But the very first time that I stayed at the hotel, I swear to goodness, somebody tapped me on the shoulder while I was sleeping that was not in the room. But I don't believe in that stuff. And I've never had that happen ever again. And also, Albert, Bill, Albert cooks breakfast for us and is just the most wonderful human that ever existed. But he's been in and around the hotel for the last 15, almost 20 years, and he has never seen a ghost at the hotel. But I also like to say that I think that the ghosts are scared of Albert instead of Albert being scared of the ghosts. But then also we've had people come to the hotel and tell us there are ghosts. So do you want it to be haunted? I will make you case either. I will tell you stories either way.
It makes sense. If you're intrigued by them, I'll tell you stories. If you're scared of them, then no, it's not.
No, Albert swears there's none, and we can trust Albert.
Yeah, we can trust Albert. Look at his breakfast. For us that, again, the outsiders, I'm curious on the impact of, as far as the Bob Wills impact. Of course, we all know the name. We all know, we all know Western Swing, but I don't think we can really even remotely, understand any of that. I lost her.
Oh no!
The ghost scared her away. That's
give Albert a call.
Yeah, I know. They pushed that stop button on her. Well, Bill, what's coming up for you down the road?
We're just playing.
With motor cars.
Yeah, we had most of the winter off. We played like Mile Zero. Saw you down there, but yeah, we just started to pick back up, and so I got to play. Playing in Wichita Falls, I think Thursday, which is on the way to Hotel Turkey. I wish we could keep driving and go back there, but she's back.
I swear it's because I talked crap about the ghosts. That has to be what it is, because my internet is fantastic. Like, I have great internet. That's crazy. Okay. That's funny. Maybe my house is haunted. They followed me from the hotel. Dang.
Exactly.
Well, Bob Wills, I can tell you, you cannot overstate the impact Bob Wills has had on A, music, and B, Turkey. And I'm very fortunate to get to know this, because you don't really get to know this unless you're in this close proximity to anything. Like, you could probably, we all know Merle Haggard has had a big impact. We know that. But if you're from if you're from where Merle Haggard's from, you know more about Merle Haggard. And same thing with Bob Wills. But what's really neat when you get down into Bob Wills is the connections that you can make from his music to today, because of the wide range of sounds that he brought together to make Western Swing. And when you think of Bob Wills, we think about like Elvis Presley breaking down barriers with rock and roll and things like that. But Bob Wills was the first person to bring a drum set onto the Grand Ole Opry stage, and they almost kicked him off. But they let him have a drum set on the Grand Ole Opry stage, and that changed the way Grand Ole Opry music was presented. Bob Wills very unashamedly and enthusiastically took sounds from jazz and from African American musicians that he had met working in East Texas and in the in agriculture, and took that music and put it into his music, and wasn't shy about that, and there's the Latin influences and the polka influences, and turned it into this sound that was danceable and very happy, and in a very sad time, like during the Depression and during World War II. And while rock and roll and other kinds of music kind of took precedence because that really was the most popular music at one point in the country, you can see how the sounds link forward to, like, I think a really great example is because you wouldn't think these two would go together at all, would be Josh Abbott. I've talked to Josh several times about how badly he wants to come play Bob Wills Day or in Turkey, Texas, because of what an influence Bob Wills was on him. And you might not make that connection. And then obviously you have a band like Flatland Cavalry that you can hear Bob Wills in their music, but that's Charlie Crockett. You can hear it in his music, and I've had that conversation with him. And like Bob Wills, and like I said, Joshua Headley. Or when you're in Nashville and you go to Roberts, and they've got. I walked in I haven't been to Nashville many times, but when I walked in, they were playing a Western swing song, and I, like a dumb tourist, I was like, "Do you know any Bob Wills?" And the guy flipped his guitar over, and he was like, it said "aha" on the back, and I was like, "Oh, okay, you do. Sorry, I'm from Turkey. I just have to ask." But so Bob Wills' music is enduring and inspirational, and even though I feel like that Western swing sound is making a comeback because that kind of big band sound is coming back, and that real authentic creativeness that Western swing had is having a resurgence. When you talk about what Bob Wills has done for Turkey, Texas, even though us at the hotel, we've only been doing live music for 10 years. Live music has been in Turkey, Texas for the last 54. And so the idea of going to Turkey to listen to music, while it used to be just be the last Saturday in April, it's all the time now. It really helped set the stage for us at the hotel to be doing what we're doing. And I think that's very emblematic of what Bob Wills' music has done for a lot of current musicians. Like, it set the stage for Merle and Waylon and Red Steagall and Asleep at the Wheel and George Strait. George Strait said that there was never as good a band as the Playboys. And then those guys
set
where
the Twin Fiddles came from, right?
Exactly. And so then those guys set the stage for our contemporaries, and we're all building on the idea that music can make a difference.
Well, kudos to you guys for. I was talking to the guys with the Red Dirt Rangers about this in Key West. As there's one thing to build something and then gatekeep it.
Oh yeah.
And then it doesn't grow. And the reason why theirs grew and the reason why they have so much respect from everyone is because they didn't gatekeep anything. They're ambassadors of the history of Red Dirt music, but they're everyone loves them because of the way that, like I said, they're not gatekeeping anything. They're helping. They'll tell the story to anyone that will listen, and I love that. So again, I think part of what makes the artists want to come there and the fans want to come there is because of the way you guys are handling your business, but also you can tell that you have the respect, or you respect everything that was before you, and you're not necessarily trying to copycat all the Bob Wills stuff by all of your shows, but you are going to pay tribute to the past or respect the past as well. So that's, I think that's great because, like, something that we actually talked about on that podcast with the Red Dirt guys is, you would think with Memphis, with all of the history and music that we would have a bigger music culture these days, and we
Yeah.
don't, and I think places that can establish those things shouldn't be overlooked to how rare and how cool those things are, because again, you'd think that would be here, but if you
Yeah.
go down on Bill Street, you're going to hear Journey and every other normal classic rock cover that you will in every other city, instead of BB King and Albert King and whatever else, instead of preserving the history. There's some of that, but that's not most of it.
Yeah.
So kudos to y'all for
Yeah.
doing that for sure.
I would be tempted to gatekeep Hotel Turkey because I enjoy it so much. But here's the
It
thing.
just cracks
like,
the gate a little
I-
bit to let a few people in.
No. Like, I'm excited to watch it grow, because when I went back in 2020, you just kind of had the one stage, and then as I kept coming back over the years, you had like the second stage off to the side, and then this past time they had a huge stage. They've added containers, which I've stayed in the hotel. I've stayed in the container rooms. They have a pool now, and so it's been wild to watch it grow. And every time it has felt the same because of the people there, and so I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean? Like it to be able to grow it the way they have and to keep the heart and soul of it is a huge task, and I don't see it changing anytime soon.
Well,
But speaking of that, like what other plans you guys have for expansion? Any or?
So the pool, you couldn't jump in the pool when Bill was here a few weeks ago, but you can jump in the pool now. It's not officially open. But we have the historic hotel, and then we have 5 40-foot shipping container bungalows. And then we're in the process of adding, you can book them for starting in June, but they're not available yet. 5 20-foot container suites that line the pool. And so I really appreciate what you just said, Bill, because while that isn't always intentional how we've done the growth, it's very much our heart. Like, we don't want to grow just to grow, but we don't
Right.
want to miss opportunities because we're afraid of it changing. So we're getting a new fence. I'm so excited about the new fence. We're getting a new fence. And then we have things like we didn't get a chance to go over there when you were there, Bill, but like that new kind of outdoor after hours space that Pat created during the Fandango, that's going to be pretty cool. I don't know what it's going to turn into, but it's going to turn into something super cool, as part of more than just the Fandango. And so I don't know, other than getting the pool open and the containers so that we can have more people around, I don't know what our expansion plans are, because if you'd asked me that question 6 weeks before Ross asked me to do a video and Charlie happened to be there and I didn't know what I was doing, I wouldn't have told you that the boot shop sessions were going to be a part of our plan.
Right.
If you had asked me, we really did, so the big stage, we did that because we booked Grady Spencer, and Grady, we just knew that show was going to sell a lot, and we needed more room. And so the first big stage was an actual cotton trailer. And then we had a few issues with the cotton trailer the first time the Great Divide played, and our good friend Darren Fisher at Fisher Construction and Welding out of Enid, Oklahoma, built us a new stage, and it is incredible. Yeah, and just built it for us. Like, we didn't ask. He just said, "You need a better stage," and so he built us a better stage. And that is how cool our friends are. And so there's Winston. We don't know where we're going because we don't know. We always know what we want to do, which is take care of people, make them have a lifetime kind of experience that they can keep coming back to, keep it affordable, keep it fun and family friendly. One of the reasons we don't have those barriers between us and the art, or the guests and the artists, is because everybody's on their best behavior at the hotel. We don't have, everybody's there to maintain the magic. So I don't know. I'm as excited as you are to see where we're going, because it's going to be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for y'all. And it's obvious anything you guys have done is not like a cash grab. It's because you need to grow, and you're growing it organically, which is what I like. It's like you were you know, hopefully there's lots more continued success of people going to Turkey, and you need to expand to accommodate that as opportunities arise, you know. But yeah, and I've never seen anybody act out there. You know what I mean? Everybody is on their best behavior. It's a really enjoyable. It's not. I live in Fort Worth. I love Fort Worth. You go down the stockyards on a Saturday night, and it can be a little intense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are just acting completely inappropriate in any sort of public setting.
They're usually
but literally,
younger, though.
Yeah, but I mean, there's young people at Hotel Turkey, and like everybody's just following their behavior, and like I think it's a big sign of the respect they have for Carley and Pat and Tina, because they're treated with respect. You know, the bartenders are all great. There's no reason to act out.
Well, and the one thing that we haven't talked about, even though we've talked about steak night at Prairie Rose, the one thing that we haven't talked about that we have to talk about before we go are the Hotel Turkey steaks. The only thing that rivals our music reputation is our steaks. And I am prone to exaggeration, but I am not exaggerating. We cook the best ribeye in the entire world, and I have tried every other ribeye in the entire world, not in the entire world, but I've had $200 ribeyes at the Broadmoor, and the only other ribeye that even is close, but it's not the same. There's this place in Woodward, Oklahoma called the Pack Saddle, but not even that. It's not even as good. But the hotel, because we grill it on an open flame. We get our steaks from Raider Red Meats at Lubbock from Texas Tech. And the cool thing is, like, it's cooked on an open flame out by the music. So, like, the smoke is wafting over the stage and creating some cool lighting. And you can go talk to the steak cookers, none of who work for us. They're just our friends that we pay in Lone Star Beer to cook steaks for us and hang out. And it's just the coolest thing. Neil, Pat and Tina's brother-in-law, has been cooking steaks since we opened. We've got our friends that Ben and Jose and Rob and Steve that help us cook steaks too. And they drink beer and cook the best steaks in the entire world. So you got to have a steak at Hotel Turkey too.
I was gonna ask
I can vouch for that.
Tell me if it's real.
I can vouch for that. That's true. I've tried to shake Pat down for the rub recipe every single time. He said he might even start like bottling it and selling it, but like worth it. It's fantastic. Yeah. They're great.
Thank you. We're pretty proud of it. And the other cool thing is, just like we serve up our music to you in a fashion that we think you will enjoy. So please, you have to trust us. We honestly only cook our steaks one way. We cook them medium rare plus because we believe that is the ideal temperature for that steak. Now, if you really, really want it cooked more, you can take it back to the steak cooker and the guys will cook it more for you, probably give you a little bit of a hard time, but all in good fun. But you would be shocked at how many people thought they wanted it cooked more, but they're I'll just take a bite before, and they're like, oh my gosh. And that's kind of a good example of a philosophy for us. We're going to show you our favorite time. We hope you love it. If you don't love it, that's okay. We might just not be for you. There's somewhere else that you're going to really enjoy, but we're going to do what we do really well. And we're going to invite everybody that enjoys what we do to be a part of the family.
So you just take your overcooked steaks to Chili's and
okay. Sometimes it's okay. If you need to take your steak back to the steak cooker, it is okay. But you'd be surprised how rarely that happens.
All right. Yeah, I wanted to before we get out of here, Ross Cooper, you mentioned him several times. He came on this pod to highlight that album to start with, so that was really cool. That the circle being complete on that, and then two, you mentioned the acoustic. What is it? Sorry, I'm going blank. The bootstrap
bootstrap sessions.
It's just so people actually, we've mentioned it several times, just in case they haven't seen them. It's basically an acoustic broken down version of people's songs, right? Very well done. So we always remind everybody to go follow everybody on the socials and everything. But when you go to YouTube, make sure you go follow all of that on YouTube and everything too. There's a lot of cool videos out there. Do you kind of have does that just happen spontaneously, or is there kind of a
It's
schedule to that, or?
Well, it's a little bit, well, sometimes it's how busy is Carly. But they usually drop once a week. We've had a little bit of a break while we've been kind of gearing up for some new releases. But there's usually a boot shop session that comes out every week. So there's usually not a plan with those. Like, I'll tell an artist that, hey, I'd love for you to do a boot shop session, and then we kind of like, we decided the day of, is it going to be before their show or after their show? Is it going to be a fan favorite, or is it going to be something people haven't heard before? So there's this real organic nature to it, where it is not, oh, hey, this is the next single I've coming up, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it is, but that is not necessarily what it's built for. And then we have, then we just get to do real like vanity ones where we're like, this person's one of my favorite people, and would you please come in and record some songs for us? And they do. And we've got one of those projects in the can that's hopefully going to come out pretty soon. That is a total departure from any kind of artist we normally have at the hotel. She hasn't played a show at the hotel. She just happened to be traveling through. And I said, hey, do you want to record a acoustic EP? And she said yes. And I went, oh my gosh. But so those boot shop sessions are something pretty special because we never know what they're going to be. And we haven't had any that really missed. And one of my favorites is some of the funnier moments are some of the kind of candid moments are my favorites. Like Jason Scott did one after a show in which Jason, we had all probably had a few cocktails, not cocktails, for a few beers, but we get over to the boot shop and he recorded Cleveland County Line, and it was fantastic. And that's kind of a like a deep song. And right. then at the end of the song, he was like, thanks guys for listening. And then he goes, and then he did something funny, like a kick, and he said, let's get that AC going. And then just that funny kind of personality that Jason has just popped right back out. And then Rob Linus did one, and it's one of the only ones that we've had an electric guitar in there. And so he actually, I was gonna say, yeah, I'm not surprised by Rob. Yeah, he actually used that as the release of that song, Double Wide Dreams. And so he was playing, and then we did a few Lone Stars that day too. But he was playing, and then he does this great ending to the song, but he kind of riffs for a minute on the guitar solo, and he finishes it, and he looks down, and he goes, that's the best I got. And it just cuts right there. And it's perfect. Like the perfection is in the imperfections. Because gosh, the first one we did with Jamie Lynn was stupid good. And we didn't even know what we were doing then. And it's just fun. They're really great. Eric did a Christmas one for us that was Married. Did you know? Go listen to it. Just go put them on repeat in the back, and you'll have a good day. Sad days. There's a lot of sad ones, but we love sad songs.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you go follow that on YouTube as well, and then Hotel Turkey on all of your socials and all that kind of stuff. And we'll wrap that up. Bill, you got anything else you wanna add to it? But we got to get to a rapid fire or two and then get out of here.
Yeah, we can do a couple rapid fires. One was like, so I know you did the photography on the Kyle Nix record, right? And you mentioned a couple other ones that you did photography. How many albums has your artwork been featured on?
I don't know. That's a great question.
A lot, right?
Yeah, more. Once I start thinking about it, it's quite a few, and I'm real proud of that. Like I used to take a lot more pictures, but the hotel's gotten so busy, it's hard for me to travel for pictures now. So when I'm in places like Key West, I'll squeeze in some photo shoots with people, and then like. Yeah, it's a pretty cool list of people that I've got to work with. William Clark Green. I've taken pictures for the Red Clay Strays. I've taken pictures for, John Bauman's looking at me right there. That was I think that was my first album cover was John Bauman. And then I'm trying to think, it's pretty, once I think about it, there's quite a few pretty cool ones.
It's pretty impressive.
I should put together a list.
It's a lot of people. Yeah.
You need a
Steve will find
playlist. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the other quick question I had was, so I believe Mike and Leslie Moss, they bought the Airbnb that I stayed in this past time, right? And
Yes.
they bought that because they fell in love with the hotel that much, right?
Yeah, so that's, I mean,
Right.
again, when we talk about collecting cool people, it's not just
Yeah.
musicians. Like Mike and Leslie Moss are dear friends of ours from Lubbock, that they are huge live music fans. And so they started coming to Turkey for live music. And then they became friends, and then same thing. They did the house hunt. Like if you're ready to start looking for a house, Bill, we'll, it's Pat's favorite thing to find somebody a place to live. And they bought a house and redid it. Mike's an architect, so the house is phenomenal. Leslie is just the most attentive person in the world, and so everything is perfect. And not only have they become great friends of the hotel, they are huge supporters of the Bob Wills Foundation and helping us. We're doing a campaign to redo the Bob Wills building, and they've been instrumental in that. And so we have several people like that have become integral to the fabric of our community because of their love of music and the hotel, and it's pretty neat.
No, that's awesome. I was kind of wondering, like, what else, like, Hotel Turkey has got to be bringing, for lack of a better, like, business to the little local economy there. Like, I would imagine other people are now wanting to open up business because you guys get a lot of traffic through there. You know what
We
I mean?
do. Like, I
So
was
what kind of impact?
so like
Sorry. What kind of impact has it had on everything?
I would think that hopefully everybody would think a good and great impact. Like I was talking about the winery, they're open on several days that we're not open. And then like Tonia's, she was at the Mexican food truck the Mexican kitchen next to All Sips. She was at a different event when you were here. So she's she's still here. Don't worry. We cannot live without her chili birdie tacos. But she like the winery and Antonia's and Letty's and our other businesses that benefit from our increased traffic. We never look at them as competition because they serve a need that we can't fill. And we need them to take care of our guests and give them options, because while I want them to spend a ton of money with me, I want them to be here no matter what. Like I wasn't open for dinner tonight, but all of my guests that stayed at the hotel went to the winery or went to Letty's, and for breakfast in the morning after I close, they go see Antonia. And Lacey Dry Goods, we have a dry goods store that's been open for 115 years. People go shop there. It's this real symbiotic relationship, and we send people to them, they send people to us, and it's really cool because I believe that small towns have such energy to put back into the world, because there is an opportunity for authenticity and connection and community. And our niche is live music, and another community's niche could be, I don't know, patchwork, like quilts. I don't know. Like there's all sorts of things that people can be super passionate about and build community around. And I'm very grateful mine is music.
Oh, I totally meant that in a positive impact.
Oh, I knew that. No.
Because,
I knew that too. But also,
yeah.
But also we try to be really good neighbors, because like your show, we have a cutoff time. We be good neighbors, like that's why it works, is because we don't have any friction, because and I definitely knew that's what you meant, Bill. And I'm grateful for that, because I think that sometimes people think that, concert venues, oh my gosh, they're so loud or so late, or I'd hate to live in a town where they're having these concerts all the time. And I think that everybody, I think it just works because we are all so kind and considerate to each other and look at each other as partners.
Well, it's also because
I figured there'd be more people who live there.
Yeah.
I hope so. I figured there'd be more people who live there.
Yeah. Well, as far as like you being involved with a venue, actually living in town, that's a different part. Like there's many people that have venues in small, in towns, but they don't live there. They're not part of the community. it's just a business that another one of their businesses that they own, so
Well, and I think I need to like make a small little note here of how cool the connection in Turkey is, because what Bill was saying is that some people that he knows through live music found out that he was playing at the hotel, contacted him outside of me because they know each other, and said, "Hey, please stay at our home because we're not going to be there when you're going to be in Turkey, and we're so glad that we can do." Like, how that speaks a lot to Bill's character too, and how he creates relationships. That we'll be like, "Hey, come stay at my house."
Well,
I'm
that's a
not
whole
here.
nother different level of that music community.
Yeah.
Not just in this situation, but just
Yeah.
like I'm sure Bill's, especially in the American Aquarium days, you probably slept on a ton of people's couches and wherever you could crash at different places. That community has been there for
Oh, a
a
ton,
long
but this
time.
wasn't even crash. Yeah, this wasn't even crashing. This is a gorgeous house. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
beautiful.
understand.
Yeah,
I know things have
is
gotten better.
yeah. I just like I'm surprised there aren't more people doing that.
Yeah.
Getting
Okay.
buying up houses and start doing Airbnbs because it's become such a cool place, and definitely like a rising tide raises all ships sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I would imagine that it's had nothing but a positive impact. But you guys get so much traffic. There surely is an impact. You've definitely impacted that community in the best way possible, and I love it.
Well, thank you.
All right, let's get to a couple. We could talk about this, I think, for another hour, but
I know.
we
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
no, I'm fine. I just don't want to keep you way longer. We already kept you 30 minutes longer than what we're supposed to. So, Steve, we're gonna get in trouble. No, so let's get a couple rapid fires in, and then I'll let Bill. Do you have any? I don't want to steal your thunder if you have one or two.
No, I'm fresh out except for
Okay.
the good one. The
Okay,
last one.
okay. All right. Well, you can take that one then. Bootstrap sessions.
Boot shop.
Boot shop. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. Just pull yourself up by the bootstraps and remember boot shop.
It's late.
It's okay.
What if you could snap your fingers and put anybody in that chair to play, who would it be?
Well, I wondered if you were going to ask me like what I was listening to now, like who, what I was
Well, we
listening
can
to
do
now.
that too.
Yeah, but so honestly, this one that we've got coming up, it's kind of a dream scenario for me, and I never thought we'd make it happen just because she's not our kind of not our kind of music, but she's just not somebody that would normally come play at the hotel. So I'm super pumped about it. If I could, just because it would be. I wish we were doing these when Willis Allen Ramsey was here, because that would have been. I just don't even know what I would have done. Like if we got a boot shop session with Willis Allen Ramsey,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would love. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll go with Willis Allen Ramsey. I could
Okay.
probably talk that list down a lot, but I think Willis Allen Ramsey would be pretty phenomenal. Except for the one that's going to come out, and I'll tag you in it when it comes out, so I can be like, I'm not trying to be weird, but I don't have everything in place to say the name yet.
Understand. Let's see here. If you could start a podcast, if you started a podcast tomorrow, who would be your first guest? Who would you want to pick their brain? Musically or otherwise, I guess that's your call.
Musically or otherwise,
it's your podcast.
It's my podcast. I can do what I want. That would be the name of it. It's my podcast. I'll do what I want. I would love. I would love to. There's a couple of people that come to mind. If I could convince him to do it, I would love to have Red Shahan come on a podcast with me. Because Red is like between Caveman, his music, and all the other stuff. Red's a curator too. He just doesn't talk about it very much. And I would love to pick Red Shahan's brain and get a little peek behind that curtain. That would be pretty cool. In the music world, that would be it. In outside of the music world, I there's a really cool place in Albuquerque. It's called Los Poblanos. It's a historic lavender farm that has become like this hugely cool hotel and restaurant and spa. They'd be really cool to talk to, or I could talk to people about history stuff or politics. It's my podcast. I'll do what I want to. So that's what would happen.
All right, y'all go subscribe to the it's my podcast. I'll do what I want to. .com. All right, we'll let Mr. William there get to the last question. Appreciate the time. Like I said earlier, make sure wherever all the socials, please make sure you follow Hotel Turkey and on the all the YouTube stuff and everything. Excited for the artist that we can't talk about right now. That's going to be dropping pretty soon. So be looking forward to that. But it's seriously, y'all go back through though. If you're listening to a podcast like this, you're going to enjoy a lot of people that have been on that list. I can't speak for going to Hotel Turkey because I haven't had the chance to do that yet. But it'll happen. But I love those performances like that, the organic, authentic things. So that I think those are really cool. You guys do a great job. There's a handful around that do a really good job on putting the spotlight on artists like that. So that's really good. But
I have a graphic from our 10-year anniversary that has every artist that's played at the hotel, and there's over 350. I'll send it to you, and I'll post it in the comments of this. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat.
And playlist incoming from Steve.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Bill. Most important question.
Very important, especially to me. They asked everybody this question. Seems a little odd, but everybody gets asked the same question. Favorite Little Debbie snack cake?
Favorite Little Debbie snack cake. I'm gonna have to go with the. I think I'm gonna have to go with the traditional white Christmas tree, not the chocolate Christmas tree, the white Christmas tree, because I like the sprinkles and I like the cake and I like the filling and then I like the crunchy outside.
And the Christmas spirit.
And the Christmas spirit, and I think that's my final answer.
But they bake it in the Christmas tree cake with the Christmas spirit in the Christmas tree cake in October.
That's exactly.
All right, guys. Go ahead.
But guys, thank y'all so much. This was so much fun. I'm like I said, we're in our little tiny neck of the woods. It's amazing who we get to meet and what we get to do. So thank you for giving us an opportunity to talk about it.
Well, believe it or not, this podcast is a similar thing. I'm not in that neck of the woods, but in this world, it gives us a chance to meet people and talk to people and network and I met people that I had a moment the other day where I was at work and Will Hogue came on in my earphone and I'm like, I've been listening to Will for 15 years and I actually got to talk to him 2 weeks ago. Like that's pretty cool. Damn crazy. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's pretty cool. So
that's cool.
All right, guys. Make sure you give Mr. Will a follow, and wherever he's out on tour with Mickey and the Motor Cars, go and heckle him and say hello, and all that stuff. So,
thank you for having me, man.
No problem. I appreciate it every time. Carley, when you start your podcast, make sure you get Bill as a special guest co-host.
Oh, I can't wait. We'll it's Bill. We'll have a good time.
And you got to come up with a different final question. Trademarked over here. All right, guys. We'll see you.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Hey.